We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you,
good evening and welcome to NUFC Matters. It is a live talk of the Toon with me and Sid and Rob joining us halfway through. Sid's channel, of course, Songs from the Attic 1977. Go and give that a sub on YouTube. Good evening, Sid.
How are you doing?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. As always, plenty to talk about with regards to Newcastle United before we get on to the musical side of things. I'm not going to start with a game first. I'm going to start with the press conference because it's fresh in the mind. Eddie Howe's press conference. Not sure whether you have time to see it, but
I've seen the days, yeah.
I'm going to give Barry's little appraisal at the start because he took the time to write it. So let's go through it. He says, Steve, I'm guessing the press conference will send fans into meltdown. It genuinely seems like Eddie's not expecting any incomings between now, the window closing. Is this a disastrous transfer window? We've been linked with 200 players and all our recruitment team could bring in a keeper as part of Anderson deal, Kelly on a free and Ruddy. You can't count Hall. It's not what I expected. Dare I say, it looks like a Mike Ashley transfer window. Well, Barry is not very happy. He said, "What did you make of the presser today?"
Yeah, strange, isn't it? But it's so odd because let's be honest, Eddie Howe, he's not renowned for being how do I say it? Wholly truthful with regards to the transfer window. Remember, he made a comment about Harvey Barnes. Oh well, we can't really comment. He was in the room next door. Yeah. So we genuinely don't know. We genuinely don't know. And we can only find out, is it 11 p.m. on Friday evening?
Yep.
At that point, we'll find out whether the window has been good or not. Remember, we were promised it would be a transformative window. I think was that the phrase that was used or bandied around? Certainly, it was going to be some sort of different window, and we were going to spend up to the maximum, I think was the phrase used. But who knows? We haven't got anybody at the moment. We've got Kelly on a free, which will be a good transfer. We've got Lewis Hall, which we'd already got. It's a funny one, isn't it, Lewis Hall? Because it's almost like getting something on tick. And before Christmas, getting it, say, in September, and then come to Christmas, you don't count it as a Christmas present, even though you promised it off your mum for Christmas. It doesn't really sort of feel that way, does it? You know, when you're a little kid. So it's almost that sort of thing. But yeah, the goalkeeping situation seems farcical. The goalkeeper that we got from Forest, part of the Anderson deal, seems to be the case if he's not going to be number 2, which is a strange one because he was valued at about 60 million 2 seasons ago. The guy has got a good back record. He's played in the Champions League. He's won the league in Portugal. Played a number of games for Benfica, a couple of hundred, I think. So he's got a good CV. You know, he's worth quite a lot of money, you would argue, yet he doesn't seem to be valued by the club in terms of there's rumours that they're going to loan him out. So we genuinely don't know. So if that's the case, why is Trafford being linked? That would be another keeper, because Ruddy doesn't really count as far as I'm concerned. He's there for, I don't know, it's sort of morale is maybe the way I would look at it, and also the coach, develop his coaching badges. So it's really strange. I'm really undecided. Everybody knew we needed a right winger and a centre half. That's what we needed, and I would argue that we probably needed a left back as well, but we certainly needed two of them anyway, you know. And so far we have. You could argue Kelly would fit in as the centre half. If that's the case, where's the right winger? You know, where's the right winger? We haven't got one. And it was proven the other day that we desperately need one. Now, as I've been advocating for a few weeks now, I'd be more than happy to have Gordon as the right winger. And I would go out and buy another player. And I would go and buy the player from Crystal Palace, so Eze. And you can have him as left and right. And you can have Barnes on the left as well. And you can alternate between 3 or 4 players and have Murphy, who I think is a fantastic impact sub, by the way. I'm putting that out there. I really do. But whether he's capable of playing game in, game out to a consistent level is probably debatable. You know, you could also argue you could put my personal view is I would have sold Miggy, but he doesn't seem to want to go. That's up to him. That's his prerogative. If so, why not play Miggy as a backup left winger? He's left-footed. When we have played him on the left, he's looked all right. He's not looked bad at all. His natural position's a number 10. Again, you could keep him on the bench as a 10 if we need to change the formation during the game. You know, he does play there. So it's so far. I totally agree with Barry. It's underwhelming. Is the best I can say. Yes, we've got the lad from Sheffield United who looks like he's going to be a prospect, but again, we were linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin again yesterday. I'm thinking, well, what the hell is that indicating? Is that indicating that Wilson's going to go? Because you can't then have 4 forwards. So
I mean, I would argue to say you probably need 4 centre forwards if you're going to be a team that's going to compete. I think the whole Dominic Calvert.
You do, but look, it's not like the 90s now, Steve. It's not like the 90s where you had 4 top centre forwards. Man City don't have 4. Man City have got one.
You have two that you would rely on, and you'll have 2 coming through. So Asula's one, you need another. I still think we need another centre forward. There's nobody coming through the reserves. That's what that's my opinion. Your opinion might be different. I mean, the other way of looking at it is Eddie Howe doesn't play 2 up front. Not many do. He plays 1 up front. So is that wasting the position? You know, I think the Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think the Dominic Calvert-Lewin story's only surfaced because of the Trippier stuff over the weekend.
Yeah,
and I think it's because, you know, journalists in Liverpool are the same as people in Newcastle, you know, and the same as people in London and Manchester. They have to earn a living by putting something out there. So I think that's, you know, I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's likely. I've heard Eddie Howe today say delighted with, you know, he's pleased with Trippier. Won't be speaking to him other than on football terms. Yet Sky are running the yellow ticker tape along, saying that Everton are, weighing up an inquiry, for Trippier. So you're right. You nailed it right at the start. Eddie Howe, doesn't tell us anything. What he has told us in the last 2 press conferences is he's not very happy. We can see he's not very happy. Yeah. He's not happy with this window. He's not happy with what happened in June, which again is the whole, Anderson Minte departure. He's not happy with the fact that he had to sell 2 players to cope with PSR.
Yeah, Anderson seems to be the one, doesn't it? He's clearly miffed.
He wasn't happy about that today, was he? He wasn't happy about that today.
Not at all. No, not at all. And I'm a big fan of Elliot Anderson. And I totally get it as well. I totally got it as well. And there were other players I would have sold before him, but then we didn't have any takers. That's unfortunately the way that the PSR has been manipulated to sort of prevent us and Villa and other teams from progressing. Where all these other teams have had to sell players that they didn't want to sell. I mean, nobody can tell me Aston Villa didn't want to sell wanted to sell David Luiz. That would be crazy. But unfortunately, a lot of clubs have been forced into this, and it seems unfair. It seems unfair when they've got no debt.
Yeah, it does.
We go around the same circles of Man United having $1 billion, Spurs being up to their necks in it.
Yeah, I mean, this all comes down to the fact that these clubs have been at the top end of the table, won things over the last 20 years when we've been messing around, and not been in that position to do that. We didn't carry on from the entertainers. And so Bobby Robson, we dropped like the proverbial stone. We spent time in the, in the championship, and we had Mike Ashley, lining his own business pocket and not putting anything back in. So that's why we're in this mess. It's as simple as that. Who has the final say on transfers? Well, it's the owners. It's not Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's reiterated today that he's involved in the selection process, but he doesn't have the final say on on the dealings. He has nothing to do with that. He's a step away from that, but he does have the opportunity to say, I want X, Y, and Z. Then it's up to Darren Eales, and Paul Mitchell, I guess, now to go and do the business with PIF as the main shareholders, given the the rubber stamp to it. And Barry, yeah, you're right. Louise Taylor's question again. I understand. Tonali's back. Tonali is going to warrant a couple of questions, but I think the fact that she got a zero answer from Eddie Howe at the weekend and clearly annoyed him. I think the fact she went back in again today and asked a similar type of question was bang out of order. And yeah, I agree with you, Barry. So you're not going to get any arguments from me. Tommy K, our resident Forest fan, is in the chat. He says, we'll look after Elliot, don't worry. Thank you, mate. And may the best team win tomorrow. C84 says, anyone sick of these journalists in the press conferences? They never ask questions that reflect what the majority of fans are saying. Then they go on podcasts and say their true feelings. And you've got a point, I think, Sid, because, a lot of the podcasters out there who are journalists, your Lee Riders, your Craig Hopes, your Geordie Journos, they all have an advantage to us. They can all sit there in the press conference and ask Eddie a question or two or three. Are they asking the right questions for you, Sid? You've listened to today's?
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one, isn't it? I mean, I like the Geordie journos. I can put my teeth back in there. I think they're very good. And they do generally try and get to the heart of the matters of the questions. And Craig Hope, I think, does a really good job. Others, it's just lip service sometimes, and others want to sort of make sure that they're still in with the management in terms of being able to get sort of exclusives. Possibly. That might not be the case these days. I don't know how the journal system works these days since the days of Gibbo. But yeah, there are times when you think, well, why didn't you ask this? It's really blatantly obvious, isn't it? Why didn't you ask this dead obvious question and just sort of skirt around it? I mean, I didn't really think the Oasis question was sort of relevant. What's the point of that? What is the point? So yeah. It's probably agreeing. They do. Some of the shows are really good, and they'll go away and maybe say, "Oh, well, we've learned this today, or we've not learned that today, or whatever." But I suppose you only get a certain amount of time as well. If I'm going to give them a bit of the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've only got a certain amount of time to ask questions. Once somebody's done the Oasis question, got it out the way. Yeah, everyone's got the soundbite. To come back in and do it again and again is ridiculous. That's not what we want to hear. The main focus really is on ultimately what's going on in the transfer window and looking ahead to the Forest game. That was what today was all about. But yeah, we just got to accept it. There's nothing we can do about it unless we become journalists ourselves and get in there. David says, can Eales veto any signings that Mitchell and Howe want to bring in? Maybe that's causing the gloomy atmosphere around the club. I mean, again, it's down to finances and down to PSR. I guess Mitchell and Howe can, probably put names forward, but there's no guarantee you're going to be allowed to have those players, Sid.
Yeah. I mean, you can't go around sticking 10 names down with 500,000, 50 million each, otherwise we wouldn't be able to afford it. But I was very confident there was going to be quite a big transfer kitty, and that I thought would go big. I genuinely believe it. The fact that they went straight away at the beginning of the window, people forget this. We went straight in at 65 and met the Elise release clause. We met that. So it's 65 million. So they weren't skirting around at the beginning of the transfer window. So there was definitely money there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you know what I think it is. I think half of it is the gay situation. People are so bored with it, and it's been absolutely tedious the way Crystal Palace have dragged it on. I would have personally moved ages ago. You know, I'd just say, right, you've had 2 or 3 bids, no more. No, but who goes more than 3 bids? When you buy a house, you see if they can get a bit of a bargain. They go with the one that they think's pretty reasonable, and then they go to the one that they think, right, I can just about afford that, and that's it. And you don't go 4 and 5. I'm sorry, you just don't. So I don't understand that, and I personally think we should have had a centre half in by now, and they should have went to Plan B, you know, or Plan C, depending on what the situation may be.
Okay, Darren says, hi, Steve. Love the shows you do, but I think all of the top 6 are spending money on new players. We spent nothing. The best we can hope for is 6 to 8. Let's wait and see where we're at the end of the press, at the end of the, at the end of the transfer window. And you're right, Andy. Nobody really cares about that. And yeah, I can imagine the article is. I haven't had time to read it. Jimmy did say that Eddie's press conference seemed like a bit of a blur to me. Boom, boom. Hey, good evening, Rob. We'll be seeing him soon. Rob's put 10 quid into charity. Please remember, if you're going to donate, YouTube do take 30%, so it's 7 quid that's going to go to the charity. But thanks for that, mate.
Really, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, YouTube take 30%, sadly. So if anyone donates, then we do have other ways of doing it. Roger, again, just talking about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He proved last season he is capable of playing more than I thought. Now for us, he could do a job. The tide seems to be turning on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. People do seem to think he might be able to do a job for us. But I mean, I'm not 100% sure we're looking for a forward, to be honest.
No, I would only take him if it guaranteed that Everton got relegated. That would be my only provisor. Otherwise, I'm not interested. Yeah, I'm not interested.
Trull says the presser could have been an oasis. Very good. Of course, all of these coming in because of the breaking news today that Oasis are finally getting back together. But we'll cover that in the second half of the show. I will be asking the lads their thoughts about the brothers Gallagher getting back together. Let's look at the match at the weekend. Obviously, we took on Bournemouth away. 4 points, Sid, out of 2 games is the way I'm looking at it, whilst not playing particularly well in either game.
Oh, it was, let's be honest, let's not sugarcoat it. It was terrible. We were very, very lucky, in my opinion, to get anything out of the game. But as you do when you watch it now, it's almost like you watch the game and you've almost texted at different times when the ball's out to you. It's back and forward, pinging messages back and forth on WhatsApp. And maybe it was like that. It was like that cat that you have on the show on the Friday afternoons, it was like typing away. And it was awful. For the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought, oh, we look great. I mean, Isak looked fantastic, He was really up for it. Beating players easily. He's just magnificent. What a player he really is. And he had zero service for the whole of the afternoon. I mean, Murphy was doing all right, getting the ball and running down, but his final product was terrible. Gordon, again, looked slightly more fit than the previous game, but he still only looks about 70% there. I thought Bruno was good, actually, to be fair to him. But I thought Big Joe's probably the worst game he's had in about 2.5 years. He was terrible. And Sean Longstaff was terrible. I thought the midfield was awful. I thought the defence was even worse. I thought the defence was terrible. And I called last week for Lloyd Kelly to play left back because he's big, he's strong, he's athletic. But the lad on the wing absolutely ripped him apart. I tell you, go and sign him. He looks a player. He looks a proper player. His final product was good. He was really quick, really skillful. I forgot his name now. Is it Osimhenio or whatever? Something like that. But what a player he looked. Semenyo. What a player he really, really looked. And I thought they were really good. But before we go into that, can I just make one comment here? I was so annoyed at the pre-game build-up by Sky. It was unbelievable. They might as well just change the channel to Liverpool FC. I mean, Newcastle and Bournemouth got about 15 minutes before the game. I thought it was a disgrace. And I thought what was even more disgraceful was it was Bournemouth's 125th anniversary and it barely got a mention, barely got a sniff. I thought that was an absolute outrage, towards Bournemouth. They really should have sort of bigged them up. They really deserved some sort of time, and they really deserved the whole story being told in terms of where they've come over the years and all the rest of it. None of that was put out there. Not a thing. They were more interested in bloody slot at Liverpool and all that sort of stuff. I thought it was absolutely diabolical. I really thought it was terrible. And Sky, for me, got far too many people connected to Liverpool on. It literally is. It's just all about Liverpool all of the time. And if it's not them, it's Man United. There are other clubs in the Premier League. It's time that they start diversifying the clubs and having different people on all the time. And also, can we not have Alan Smith on bloody commentary? He's the most boring man on Sky. I'm not sure he dislikes us or not, but he just sounds bored. Let's put somebody else on, please. He's an absolute pain. He really is. So somebody entertaining would be nice. And anyway, going back to football, I do apologise. It was just awful. I hated all that build-up. It was just not very good. Just not very good at all. The conceded goal, Big Joe giving it away, the lad running down, ripping us to bits. Good goal by them. Good. Bonds came on. The substitutes were excellent. Trippier proved really that he was better than Tino at the moment. He's probably has to start ahead of Tino. At the minute, there are doubts about Tino from the beginning of the season. He's not being good. He's had a poor pre-season, and it's going into the current season. I'm sure he'll come good, but at the minute, I would start Trippier ahead of him, and I'm surprised I'm saying that myself. I'm still not 100% convinced Hall's left back, but we shall see. I think he's the CDM, but I'm happy to be shot down. I just thought we were awful, and the two centre-halves were terrible. I thought they were both awful the other day, just taken apart, absolutely taken apart. We were lucky to scrape a point. Big Joe was lucky to stay on the pitch. It could have been a red. I can see why it wasn't given, but I could have. If they'd given it as a red, the ref had given it as red, it wouldn't have been overturned. So definitely see that. And the handball was so bizarre. At the end, I go, nothing's changed. We've not learned a thing, and it went our way. And obviously, I was thrilled, but we were very, very lucky. And we'd be miffed if that was given against us. If we scored that and it wasn't given, I would be miffed. Yeah, I thought Bournemouth were unlucky, and I thought we were very lucky to scrape a point. I will take it happily. That's more points than we had last season, but underwhelming, and we don't look match fit yet. So,
what's your thoughts on Trippier? Ultimately, we saw Eddie Howe give the nod to Tino Livramento, but no doubt about it, there was the substitutions played the part at the weekend, and I thought Trippier had a great run out.
He was great. I thought we had the whole. I mean, obviously there was a big article in the newspapers that day, and speculation was rife. I thought he looked upset on the TV. Obviously, the pan to him holding his head in his hands. The pan to him at the end of the match where he went forward and gave the fans a round of applause. But he was excellent. He really showed up the defence when he came on. He kicked them into line. He commanded the back four. It's noticeable when the substitutions came on, Big Joe suddenly improved. Willock looked excellent when he came on because he was able to just move with the ball, whereas Sean, unfortunately, was just giving the ball away again. I thought he was terrible. But I thought, Willock came on, was able to move the ball up the pitch, and I said Barnes was just tremendous. I thought Barnes was just great. Lovely, lovely, lovely to see him with the final delivery with the ball in there. Gordon intercepted it really well to put it in the back of the net. And they have to start the next home game with Barnes and Gordon on the wings. I think that has to be the way that it goes if we don't have a right winger, which is what Howe seems to be claiming.
Are you going to, are you going to look at that? I mean, we'll talk cup games after we've done music in the second half of the show. But looking at the Spurs game, the next league game, we'll obviously be making changes tomorrow against Forest. Yeah. But looking at that Spurs game, what would you change? No Shaw available, of course.
Yeah, that's a massive loss. Huge.
So still no Shaw. Would you go with Kraft at centre half again?
No.
Would you go with Hall at left back, or would you go with our new signing?
I would go Hall left back, and I put Kelly and Dan Burn as centre halves. personally, and I'd put.
He looks more of a centre half, doesn't he? He looks more of a centre half. Yeah, and you'd go Trippier right back.
Yeah, I would. So you've got the experience there as well as the young kids as well. So you've got a little bit of a balance going on, and I think with Kelly there, you've got the pace factor because they're quite quick up front. Of course, remember that. And nobody's expecting to get tongued 5 or 6 this time round, are they? You know, it's probably too early in the season as well for us to be able to do that. But that's what I would do. I would definitely do that. You know, it's just such a shame about Shaw.
A lot depends, of course, on what happens in the transfer window. You know, the way people are feeling, nothing's going to happen. But
I think if we get Jay in or whoever it may be, I would be amazed if they throw him in first game. I'll be amazed if Eddie Howe throws him in on Sunday. I just don't see it happening. I don't. No, I think after the international break, of course, ironically, that whichever player we get is probably going to be on international duty. So.
What we got from Eddie Howe today simply was, you know, are you expecting to have a centre half and a right winger, and you not get both of them, is what he was saying. But like you say, he's got a good poker face, Eddie. We might not be, you know, being told the truth, and maybe when it comes to deadline day, we will see players coming in. All eyes, of course, will be on whether Marquis plays for Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. If he does, he'll be cup tied. If he does move to Newcastle, and Newcastle get through to the next round, so it's another point of interest that if he doesn't play, then I think people will be thinking, oh, he might be moving as well. Newcastle will get a windfall as well should Ivan Toney move. Chelsea now making a move for Ivan Toney today. You know, according to Sky Sports, they're interested, but there's also a deal on the table from Saudi, which would pocket Newcastle in the region of 13 million, I think.
Is it that much? I think you go to Chelsea. They were superb the other day, to be fair. I mean, Manduki, who was mentioned with Newcastle, that's gone now, isn't it? You score a hat-trick and he ain't going to be coming on Saturday. So, if I were to, although, I mean, the amount of players they've got is ridiculous. Chelsea's going to be the team to watch with the amount of outgoings on Friday afternoon. It's going to be, you're going to need a coach. There's going to be about 100 coaches zooming off in all directions. But, Chelsea, it's obvious for him. He doesn't have to move house.
Any Chelsea players that you would fancy, Sid? Is there anybody?
Is it Mandy? Yeah, is the guy I would definitely like to see because I think he's a really good player. I'm trying to think off the top. I keep forgetting how many they've got.
Chalobah's another one who's been linked.
Yeah, I don't know enough about him, so I can't comment on him. Ben Chilwell, I would take as a left back.
People suggesting each day we do this show, Raheem Sterling. We couldn't afford the wages.
We couldn't. I would take Raheem Sterling, absolutely. If you've took £100,000 a week, you can't pay the rest. That's just crazy money, you know. And that would be the only way I think we could afford to take him. I still think he's got goals in him. I still think he's an intelligent footballer. You don't win the league that many times. He was excellent at Liverpool, excellent at City. Yeah, he's excellent for England. He's a good player. I don't see him. He's only 29. People are making it out like he's 35.
Dave's suggesting Petrovic. He says we're after a keeper, aren't we? I can't believe this story about Trafford circulating again. You know, we need a keeper out, and what I will say in the press conference, we don't need. You know, there's not necessarily going to be a keeper going out. You're thinking, what on earth are we playing?
If Trafford comes in, that will tell me there's serious money at the club because he's going to be low on their list of priorities. That's the way I look at it. If they get him, then they've got a big pot of money and they're going to go out and buy 2 or 3 more players. That's the way I look at it. Yeah. Otherwise, I genuinely don't understand the whole purpose of it. But yeah, Chelsea's a strange one. They're such a strange club. I can't even name half their players. They've got that many. They've got that many players. It's just nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Anyone's up for sale and Chelsea's involved. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. You know, players need to go out. Okay, we're halfway through the show. If you're watching on Twitter, jump onto YouTube, search NUFC Matters, hit the subscribe button. It does help us if you watch on YouTube. It's free. Just hit the subscribe button. And if you want to crack some money over and join the channel, just hit the join button. It's $1.99. Here's the ads.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at skipsandbins.com. contact them, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102 or email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Thanks to our NUFC Matters fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. Travel and Tourism Award winners 2024. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. All excursions included, 3-star plus quality hotels, no interchanges, a 2-crew driver and courier. It's a local family company, and you can find them at www.unitedgrouptravel.com or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Big thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you want to help support the channel, hit the subscribe button. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the thumb up under the video. That's the like button. It does help us grow. And click the share button. Help share to your social media. If you want to join the channel for as little as $1.99 a month, then hit the join button under this video today. We also help the food bank on this channel. Visit nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk. It takes you to the match day bucket where you can donate some money virtually. Some events for your diary in aid of Dementia Matters. The Long Sands will be reforming and be supported by Lilac Lane and the Chris Norris Band at the Cluny in Newcastle on Saturday, January the 4th, 2025. Tickets are £15 pre-sale from newcastlelegends.com. An evening with Peter Beardsley takes place at the Tyneside Irish Centre on the 10th of January 2025. Tickets available from newcastlelegends.com or from Woucher. And an evening with the Entertainers takes place on the 24th of January 2025. Telephone the box office 0844 249 1000 or visit the website tynetheatreandoperahouse.uk. And the Magpie Lounge at the Gateshead Leisure Centre is now open. 7 talk-ins for £99. Joe Allen will be hosting talk-ins with Lee Clark, John Anderson, Steve Howie, Darren Peacock, Supermac, Steve Watson, John Beresford, all between the dates of January and July. £99 for 7 talk-ins, newcastlelegends.com. And don't forget, you can subscribe to our NUFC Matters fanzine, £20 for 4 issues with all proceeds going to Dementia Matters. If you live overseas, it is £50 for 4 issues. To order now,
And it's a big welcome to Rob from Give Up the Ghost UK. How are you, Rob?
Very well, Steve. How are you both? Are you all right?
Good
All
to see you,
mate.
Rob.
Good to see you. And for those of you who regularly watch Talk of the Toon will know that Rob comes on to review an album, but we can't start the music section without telling you, first of all, what album we won't be reviewing, and that's Will You Still Love Me in the Morning?
It just looks it looks so innocent, doesn't it?
I'm afraid it looks typically BBC, Rob.
Yeah.
The big news, of course, is this. Definitely no maybes. Well, of course, after 15 years, looking back in anger, Noel and Liam end the feud in a phone call and they reform Oasis. And the big news, of course, announced this morning, 8 o'clock, live 25. Lots of gigs to look forward to. And the gigs go on sale this Saturday at 9 a.m. I would imagine a similar kind of rush to book tickets as there was for Nebworth. 2.5 million people trying to buy tickets for Nebworth, I think, the last time. And a new generation of people following Oasis as well. So, yeah, going to be a big clamour for tickets. I wouldn't be surprised to see more gigs announced, though, Rob.
Yeah, I think this was always planned. I thought that, and I just don't believe. Cue for a song. Don't believe the hype, but I believe what happened with the Stone Roses as well. There'll be arguments saying they're going to cancel a tour, and I do. I just think it's all pre-planned. That's just my opinion, and I do think they're cancelling the tour, and it'll just rile up a wee bit more attention. That's just what my thoughts on it. I've always believed this is planned from when they split.
I've got to be honest. I'll tell you now. I mean, obviously, I'm good pals with Alan McGee. That guy can keep a secret, like, because I have tried my damnedest in the last 18 months with Alan to find out if this was going to happen. He's got a good poker. You think Eddie Howe's got a good poker face? Alan McGee's definitely got one. And a couple of people who I know who work for him have both managed to keep their tongues and their mouths firmly shut. So I'm delighted to see it. The lineup's going to be interesting, of course. And as you say, it's a hell of a long time between now and next summer to see whether they can get through, you know, a few rehearsals to get to where we all want them to be. But Sid, quickly on you as well, just your thoughts on Oasis getting back together.
Don't really care. It just I had offered a free ticket for them years ago at the Riverside, and I didn't go. That was the one when he got punched. They're all right. First album's very good. After that, great singles band. But I prefer Slade. So there we have it. Just putting that out there. That's my views. I really don't really care. I prefer of all those bands, Blur, I really think are great. I think Damon Albarn is fantastic, very clever man. Took chances, did different styles of music. Gorillaz, brilliant, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just
I did do a little poem for it today, Sid, as well. August 27th, a day that made us smile. We finally heard the news that was rumored for a while. They said the guns have fallen silent and the stars have now aligned. Finally, our wait is over. It's time for some sunshine.
Oh, no.
Okay, what album are you bringing us, Rob?
Well, before I start, I've got a question for you both. Get your thinking caps on and answer at the end of my review. What's your guilty music pleasure? There you go. Right, mine's is Chaz and Dave. So I'll move on for now. So this is for Paul. He plays bass in our band, obviously. So this was the Ruts, the Crack. It was called. They were formed in 1977. London band.
Classic.
This was 1979. The album is very much. I mean, Paul said to me, "There's a story behind the cover." So I done a little research, and it's just the band members sitting on a couch and their contemporaries sort of sitting around them. You know, Captain Sensible, Jim Pursey, Peter Cook, Dudley Moore, John Peel, that sort of thing. So it's very much, I would say, influenced by the Beatles. So yeah, it's the DC. It was the Ruts and it was the Ruts DC, but the DC is sort of like an Italian meaning. It means from the beginning. It's in homage to Malcolm Owen, who took his life, and allegedly they couldn't recapture the earlier angst they had with Malcolm being in the band. So it opens with Babylon's Burning. Again, it's a great song, cracking opener. Sirens, alarms going, really, really good song. It's not a lot to it. It's very, very effective. And I really, really love the ska, sort of new wave feel to it. Really, really strong opener. And you've got Dope for Guns, brilliant bass run. The intro to this again, superb. Again, going back to the ska two-tone reggae sort of dub sound. Really good guitar in during the verse. Very, very melodic song. It's nice mid-late section in it as well. It's really, really good. Then you've got SUS or SUS. Brilliant
it was
drum and bass. Is that? I wondered. Yeah. I wondered that. Drums and bassness are really, really good. I mean, I wouldn't mind covering this. Really good floor toms, good rack tom work. So far, that's the best song on the album for me personally. I'd never heard it before. It was what a song. I got Something I Said again. I do remember this sort of like high school. This was a single as well. I once owned this. I'm sure I did. On Flexidisc. This is classic Ruts, 10 out of 10 track. So it did take me back to sort of high school days. Then you got 5. You're Just a really, really sort of fast song. Really good. I like the guitar styles. It's quite simple but very, very effective. It's nothing overdone. Really, really good guitar solo on this one as well. It doesn't last too long, the guitar solo. It's just but it's lovely. It Was Cold. This was one that we done in our set over a period of early gigs we done. Good intro. It's I'd rather cover Sus. The guitar, the beginning of the guitar, the effect, it reminds me of Walking on the Moon by, you know, the Police, or as are now known called Sting. But good song though. It's a good song, but don't mind it. Sausage Circle, Savage Circle, Sausage Circle. Nice tribal tom work on this one. It's sort of like very erratic. Bass playing is very unique again. I can see why Paul's sort of like probably influenced by them and wants to play sort of more this sort of style. Very catchy, this one. Again, the passion in the vocals, it's just delivered brilliantly for the song. They got Yawar, again, dubska reggae, a good rim shot drumming. It's the only song on this album as that style of drum, sort of special style. Reminded me a little bit of Guns of Brixton, sort of, you know, Clash song. You know, Criminal Mind, sort of very, very thrashy intro. It's the hardest song on the album for me. Reminded me a bit of like Exploited. It's okay though, I don't mind it. You got Backbiter. Simply, I don't like this one. It's a bit of a filler. No direction compared to the rest of the album. I don't like that song at all. You go Out of Order, cracker. It's a really, really good song. You know, it goes back into, I think, what the album is. You know, it's like classic ruts from what I'm hearing. Fast Furious in the chorus, classic. Good backing vocals on this one again. Nice, nifty guitar solo. And unusual, this one. It's called Human Punk. It's the last songs at live at Marquee 1979. I've never heard of a band doing that. Just sort of like putting on the album, not listed as a, you know, bonus track. But yeah, it's a good live song. You know, it's, you know, I'm just, like I say, it's just like typical punk. See, I was trying not to say the word punk because I don't see them as a punk band at all, as I don't with the Stranglers. They're too melodic, they're too talented, and it's really, really good. But I think I will buy this on vinyl. It's getting a 7 out of 10 for me. It was a good album. There's only one song I didn't like on it, and obviously it was Cold because we played it a million times as a band. But a good album, really good album. But I mean, that Sus, yeah, I wouldn't mind having a little jam at that, see how we get on with it. Really, really good album.
Love them, absolutely love them. I've got that. The second album as well. The second album's like a compilation thing, which is brilliant, really good. It's got like In a Rut on it, and it's got HI Society, which is really fast hardcore punk song. Then they've got like the really heavy reggae with Love in Vain, which is basically about his heroin addiction. Yeah. They've got Staring at the Rude Boys, which is a great song. Yeah, they're possibly the most gifted musicians of all the punk bands. You certainly got Davey Ruffy on drums, who's magnificent. Seg's a great bass player. Absolutely top draw. They really are top draw. Great musicians, and such a sad loss. In fact, famously, John Peel said, "Do you have any regrets?" And he said, "The only regret I have is making the Ruts popular because it cost Malcolm Owen his life." So that was one thing that he actually said. Yeah, great. I love him.
I think they're doing a tour soon. I also sent a friend in Edinburgh. The Ruts played in his record shop, so it was in two parts. I'll send it on to you, Sid. But yeah, they played in his record shop, so I sent it off to Paul today as well. But it was very interesting, yeah. Just a little acoustic thing, but it's just something different. But I was very surprised. I was expecting more, you know, as soon as I see 1979, I'm thinking of, you know, sort of hard punk. But like you say, I mean,
they're not really a punk band because they did reggae superbly. They did they did hardcore punk, which is sort of more the American style, really well. They were really a bit like the Clash. They broke out of that mold. I thought they were a very, very clever band, and it's such a tragic loss. Yeah, brilliant.
I was gonna suggest, Sid, 1 week we should nominate each other an album to review. One album in a few weeks' time. It'd be interesting to see, you know, what the thoughts are in a few weeks or something like that. Yeah.
Sid, what album have you brought us?
Well, since it's the whole Britpop thing, I thought I would go with what I thought was the best Britpop album, and that is I Should Coco by Supergrass, which came out in 1995. They were, for me, probably the best of all those Brit pop type bands. I'm not sure Blur really. I know everyone harps on about them as that sort of thing, but I think they went on to be something different. And I don't class Radiohead as a Brit pop band, even though for me they're country mile the best of all those bands of that era. Yeah, it's a great album. I first heard them when I went into Pet Sounds in the town, and Kirk, who works there, good friend of mine, and he goes, "Oh, I said, listen to this." And he put a cassette on of the song Lenny, and I just thought, "Wow, that's brilliant! Absolutely loved it." And he goes, "Oh, well, the album's out in a couple of weeks." So we waited. The day the album came out, I went and bought it on the day that it came out. And I loved it. I genuinely loved it. They're unlike some of the bands of that time. They don't just take riffs and adapt them as their own. They sort of they wear their influences on their sleeves, but in a different way. They're clearly influenced by Buzzcocks, the Jam, Madness, the Kinks. I just thought they were great. It's a super album, really energetic. I would argue it's probably 10 minutes too long, even though it's 40 minutes. I think they could have done it in 30. But there's some great songs on it. I Like to Know is a great opener. It's got like a 60s feel with a bit of a punk overtone to it. Caught by the Fuzz is fantastic. It's almost like a Madness song. It's about being 15 years of age and Gaz Coombs being arrested for possession of cannabis. It's really quite a funny story. Man-Sized Roosters is basically an anatomical story. I'll let you work out the rest of yourself with big double entendre. All Right, obviously we all know that. It's almost like a Madness meets the Monkees. And funnily enough, Supergrass were offered to do that Monkees type show, but they turned it down. Lose It is brilliant. It's like a mix between sort of Buzzcocks and early Syd Barrett with Pink Floyd. Strange Ones is very Pink Floyd, early Floyd. Sitting Up Straight is probably the most Brit-pop song on the album, and probably the one I like the least, actually. She's So Loose is lovely. It's like got an acoustic sound. We're Not Supposed To is very good. It's like a T-Rex type song. Time's good. So Far of Lethargy's good. And Time to Go is excellent as well at the end. They're really nice. Again, that sort of Floyd feel to it. So, yeah, terrific album. Really great live band as well. And they're a really great singles band again, I would say. Really great singles band. I would give this 4.5 stars at a push, maybe more 4, just because I think it fades off a little bit towards the end. But it's a super album.
And what book have you brought us, Sid?
Oh, right. I've gone. It's a bit of a kid's book, but it's really good. I forgot all about it. It's really short. It's about 100 pages long, and it's called Stone Cold. One I've taught a number of times. And what's interesting about it, it's two narrators. Really clever. You've got a killer and you've got a homeless person. 2 different narrations. Obviously, they're interlinked. It's a fantastic about young kid on the streets of London during early 90s. Really grim, but it just fits. It's superb. Really good little short story. Really, really good. If you want something that you're going to read in a day or two, something simple and straightforward, I can't recommend that enough. Actually, it's lovely. Terrific story.
All right, great stuff. Don't forget as well, if you want a bit of information on the band, Give Up the Ghost UK, simply put your smartphone over the QR code now. Alternative music for modern times, and you can also find them on Facebook as well. But Rob, we're having a week off next week because Sid is on his holidays, so we will see you in 2 weeks, mate. Look forward to seeing you then.
What's your guilty pleasure?
All right, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's guilty. I'm not. Everything I like, if I like it, I like it. You know. So I've got a couple. Artists I listen to a lot in terms of just great singles is Leo Sayer. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Putting that out there, really, really, really great. And a guilty pleasure song, I absolutely love it, is Fantasy Island by Tight Fit. It's class.
Yeah.
It's the best song that ABBA never wrote. There we go. Give it a check out, folks, on YouTube. It's a really great, catchy earworm.
I remember
great
that
song.
Whitney Houston for me. Great voice. Great voice. Fantastic voice. And that's got to be a guilty pleasure. Definitely fits into that bracket. But
okay.
Fantastic. Great to have you on, Rob. Look forward to seeing you next 2 weeks, mate. Take care.
Okay.
Take
Cheers,
care,
guys.
man. Look after yourself.
Good to have Rob on, as always. He'd be a happy chap as well. Gateshead doing very well. Had a great start to the season. Okay, Newcastle in Carabao Cup action tomorrow. As always, when we look ahead to a game, we have Scunny Mag telling us all about the place.
Hi folks, Scunny Mag Paul here again with another away day guide. This one's for Forest. It's coming up next. Okay, Nottingham Forest. Getting there is pretty straightforward, with it being on the M1 corridor and the East Midlands main line. And if you are arriving on the train, you'll be coming into Nottingham Station, which is only around 20 minutes walk from the city ground itself. For those driving in, there's plenty of parking around Forest's ground and the neighbouring Meadow Lane. Match days will set you back around a £5, and there's also plenty of car parks further south, just past the Trent Bridge cricket ground. If you're looking to make a weekend of it, then there's a bunch of hotels. There is one just outside the front of the train station. It's called the Bentink Hotel. You can find it at 1A Station Street, November Golf 2-3 Alpha Juliet, and same stores hobby for those using the app. There are some good options for larger groups. The pick of these is the River Rooms Apartments, which is a stone's throw from the ground. These are laid out as full apartments rather than hotel rooms, but the price is still sensible with plenty available. The £219 option sleeps 6, so that's around £36 each, which is not bad at all. You can find them at 4-6 Radcliffe Road, November Golf 2-5 Foxtrot Whiskey, or Groups Wishes Motor for your what 3 words. Moving on to pubs, if you are staying at the River Rooms or using the car parks to the south of Trent Bridge, then the Stratford Haven is a cracking little alehouse. It's set up brilliantly for match days. It's well staffed, great range, including some fantastic local real ales of varying strengths. I hit the strong ones on my last visit, and I'll be honest, they wiped me out. I hardly have any recollection of the game or getting home, but that's a story for another day. Your what 3 words to find it is Plenty Moon Rush. And then moving across the river, for those parking around Notts County Stadium, they open their in-ground bar, but it gets great reviews from visiting supporters. It's called the Broken Wheelbarrow, and your what 3 words is going to come in very handy here. Knots, laws, will. If you came in on train, then as you head into the ground, you'll find Hooters. It's big, holds plenty of fans. It's on the corner of Queen's Road and London Road, with your what 3 words being Single Twist Pump. And one last cheeky one, the Britannia, also known as the Rowing Club or the Boat Club locally, charges a nominal fee to get in. It used to welcome away fans, and since promotion back to the Premier League, it's definitely become more of a home-only kind of venue. But if you don't have distinctive accents or your colours, pay your subs on the door, you can head upstairs with little bother just before rolling into the ground. We've done this a few times. It's a great little venue with lots of history, so if you do get in, enjoy it. Good luck if you're giving it a try, but do behave. Don't ruin it for everyone, because they'll just end up properly clamping down on everything and checking tickets and stuff. Once you've finished drinking and you're ready to head in for the game, you'll be looking for the most easterly corner of the ground. If you approach from the river, you'll need to walk under the Trent end, turn right, and it's down the other end of the stadium. Your what 3 words for the visiting supporter turnstiles area is Hooray Friday Expand. Enjoy the game. That's it from me, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks, Paul, as always. Yeah, it's great stuff, mate. He wrote a wonderful book about football away trips, and he reached out and I just said it'd be great to get him on. So it's really handy for people who want to travel.
Well done.
We always put it out on a separate podcast as well, just so people can find it easily enough. So Newcastle Carabao Cup action, second round, no European football. We play tomorrow night, 8 o'clock kickoff live on Sky Sports. A result must be achieved on the night. If the scores are tied after 90 minutes, it is a penalty shootout. Don't be giving your tickets away to anybody if you can't make it. There are rules and regs, obviously, with Newcastle United, and you don't want to fall foul of the rules. As for the team, well, Sven Botman, Jamal Lascelles, Callum Wilson, Lewis Miley, all out. Fabian Schär serves the second game of his 3-game suspension for a red card against Southampton. Good news means that after the Spurs game, that will be done with, all done in a week, which is great. The scheduling of this tie on Wednesday, of course, means that Sandro Tonali is available for selection, and he does make the match squad. His 10-month ban ends at midnight tonight. Great news. As for Forest, well, a couple of old boys lie in wait. Elliot Anderson and Chris Wood will be available for this tie. And we obviously, upset to see Elliot Anderson leave, as was Eddie Howe, as we mentioned earlier on the press conference. Ahead of our visit, Forest won 1-0 at Southampton in the Premier League on Saturday. So big game this, because this is one of those cups that we need to focus on if we're going to beat our trophy jinx. Sid, you want to look at this and think that Newcastle should be throwing everything at it. Eddie's by his own admission today will be looking at the team and probably make a few changes, but needs to be a strong team tomorrow, mate.
Has to be the strongest team. Has to be the strongest team. We've got to try and win a cup this year. Strongest team only. Anything less is not good enough as far as I'm concerned. So I would start Trippier. I'd start him as the right back. I've already said my full back four with Kelly, Byrne and Hall. And then in midfield, I'd start Tonali, I'd start Willock, and I'd start Bruno. I'll probably leave Big Joe for the weekend, but he can come on and maybe replace Tonali after 60 minutes or so. And then I'd start Gordon, Barnes, and Isak up front. Yeah, that's probably the way I would go. That's the way I'd go with it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And just go for it. Forest are a good team, and it's going to be interesting what team they put out and whether they take the cup seriously or not. But looking at form, we've lost the last 2 League Cup games at their ground. We've lost the last 2. So we are due to win one of them, surely. Although we have won the last 2 away games down at their ground as well. So
yeah. Finally poised this game. It's got a feeling that it could go, into the later stages. Give us a prediction, mate.
I'm going draw and then penalty shootout, and whoever wins, I think we might edge it on pens. I think it'll be a draw. I think I can see it being 1-1 or 2-2, and Nick Pope scraping us out with his penalties, greater pens. So I can.
Enjoy your holidays. You're gonna
change your fun stuff, folks.
Enjoy your week off, mate, with your family. Look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time.
Will do.
Let's hope we're still in the Carabao Cup and we've got another 3 drinks in the can by the time you're here. Take care, Sid.
Look out yourself, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.